How you doing, guys? Just bear with me a wee second here. Right, that's me, I think. So, usual, apologies for being late. What can I say? Right, what are we on tonight? Gav is going to be joining us. So, first things first, the usual. Yeah, I'll just see here. For anybody new listening, Flat Earth is an ongoing investigation into the reality that we all share. It is a question for science, that being natural science. It comes down to practicality, actual substance. Just fix that. I'm sure many people out there have heard flat Earth as being some nonsense flat disc flying in the vacuum of space, or some square with an edge that you're falling off of. That doesn't happen here. This is for people who are questioning the validity of the claim that they were born into, which is that you live on a globe. The people who are gathering here are people who realise that that is total crap and that we live on a level plane. Now, none of you know what the full dimensions are, how far it extends, where it ends. Nobody knows any of that. We know that it's a level plane, and that it's still an ongoing investigation. Now, the only way that the investigation is going to be concluded is by having full exploration. People think that's far-fetched, but it's the only logical place you can arrive at. Otherwise, we're going to go in circles. We're going to invoke ideas like pizza dishes and square boxes at each other until we're blue in the face. So, again, flat Earth is not some cartoon image that you have in your mind. It is an investigation into the objective truth of the reality that we share. As again, it has to be answered through natural science. All claims must be shown practically. It comes down to practicality, right? Substance. So, we will get to that very shortly. First of all, I'm going to say happy birthday to Jonah Worms. Hope you had a good day. 21 again, yeah. Second, I want to share a guy called Des Sherwood, who's been helping me a wee bit with understanding some of the theory of music. So he has got some tutorials on there for anybody that's interested in guitar. I suggest you check him out. He does lessons via Skype or whatever it might be. So Des Sherwood is his channel. I don't have it here right now, but I will get it and ask Marshall to post it in the chat. What else was there? There's a meeting for anybody who wants to come to it in the last post in Paisley. That's on Saturday at 2 p.m. It'd be great to see you there, and I look forward to meeting up and having a chat. So, as I say, I'll be waiting on Gav coming in. We're going to discuss a few things, and then if anybody wants to add to any of the discussion, they can. So, what's my beefs this week? The Psyop part, which is always going on, where we have these characters amongst us playing psychological games. This is a question for objective truth. It is not about people's personalities or any emotional nonsense that's coming with it. And we're continuing to see that. There's a character, again, who is now trying to attack the stance of natural science, direct realism, saying that, you know, people here are zealots and dangerous. Well, if I base my understanding of objective reality on actual substance, if I go with testing actual substance and going by the behaviour of actual substance, if that makes me a zealot for objective truth, fine, I'm a zealot for objective truth. Now, who that would be dangerous to is only dangerous to those who seek to keep people in bewilderment, confusion and control, right? There is an objective reality there. We are subject to it. Everyone is subject to it, okay? Does not matter what any of us think, believe, wish, want to be true. We are subject to the objective laws and facts of what we call nature, right? Now, one of these facts of nature is the behaviour of liquid here upon Earth, which is my measuring tool. Some people don't like that. They think, oh, you can't trust senses in your instruments. And, it's something that can be tested by everybody, right? It is a fundamental fact of reality that bodies of water, liquid, do not conform to the exterior of shapes. You do not get shapes displayed on the surface of any body of water, right? If people think that's zealotry or dangerous, whatever, you need to be suspicious of these. But again, I'll discuss that more with Gav once Gav arrives. I was directed to a certain comment on a video by the user John Smith. Now, everybody associates John Smith with me or me with John Smith. I have to remind people that I am not in control of any one of these individuals. They are individuals who are free to, you know, explore their own avenues, whatever they get up to. I am not associated. I do not represent John Smith or any of the Fukers people. I'm not involved with them. They're nothing to do with me. So the problem is that, just bear with me a wee second. So again, just to remind people, now I'm not against any of these people. People are free to discern and make up their mind, but I just have to, make it clear who I'm at and where I'm at. So bear with me. In particular, it was user Andrew Calvert, who I know comes here, and he had a few concerns, and there was a thing here. Right, okay, I don't know you was having trouble like that with people calling you a shill. This is, I'm talking to John Smith on his channel, because as far as I am concerned, if people like you and Dell were to be shills, then that would finish Flat Earth for me, because if I got it wrong about you two to be virtually the only ones I really trust to be real people for the people, then Flat Earth would be the biggest fuck up I've ever made. Now, I just want to put that set of records straight for people like Andrew. You can't associate me with any of these people. John Smith came to me and wanted to video me doing the street activism. He then, started doing similar things on his own, and he's branched out and getting involved with all these other people. That's not me. I can only represent me in this platform. So there's no association or attachment to any of these people. Whatever they get up to, you can't generalise and then attach that to me. So I just want to clear that up once and for all, that I represent me. I don't represent anybody else. They represent themselves. Right? So there's talk of shillery and all this fucking stuff. I suggest that you analyse and discern the walk of people, what their actual content is, what they're contributing in regards to progress, and see and decipher their incentives for yourself. Right? If you want to look at me and who I am, you just look at my walk and what I've tried to achieve. The only thing I'm interested in is establishing objective truth. I'm not interested in people's personalities or any emotional manipulation whatsoever. Right? This again is about the objective truth of your reality. It's hugely important for me to understand and know exactly where I am, for me and those that are close to me, and for every one of you out there who are interested in it. That's it. Right? Not interested in anything else. So I'm always going to represent that and always keep pushing forward to progress that. That's my only interest. The people who are playing emotional, manipulative, psychological games, these are the ones that you need to look out for. That's the Psyop. So all this shillery and, making effigies and people fucking sending threatening messages to each other, be very wary of that kind of caper. And I stated my case with these certain characters as they appeared in the scene. I'm not going to keep going over it, to be left so that people could discern for themselves and eventually see what these people were up to. Right? So that's that. And again, I'm not interested or against any of these people. Everybody's entitled to pursue their own stall, put out their own stall, and set about achieving whatever they want, whatever their agenda is. As I said, my agenda is to establish first and foremost what the objective truth is, and then to instill a sense of critical thought in people, discernment, right? In order to give people the tools back that they require, so that we do not end up in this shitty mess that we find ourselves in right now. A world full of corruption, lies, propaganda, fear-mongering, deceit, right? I'm fucking sick of it. And if people come to this platform and they say that they've got integrity and they've got honesty and they're in the pursuit of honesty, I can only take that at face value for so long. If they then start wandering away, you can't label me with that. I don't represent me. That's not my problem, right? As I say, I can only represent me. So if you're judging people, you judge them on their walk, right? As individuals. So, in regards to this Red character, Orphan Red, we've done a hangout trying to attack activism, direct realism, natural science. We can't trust our senses or measurements because, well, if that was really the case, then why are you trusting the technology you're using to do your hangout? Why are you trusting the makeup that you put in your face? Why are you trusting the clothes that you put on? Why are you trusting any of the appliances or anything that you take for granted in your everyday common experience? Of course there's an objective reality that can be depended on, that has actual substance, that can be measured and then put to use and applied, right? Because remember, that's the sequence, people, okay? Natural science, right? We observe the natural world, what we call the natural world. That's a whole other avenue, but we'll take it, the natural world, right? We go out, we mess with substance, we mess with actual practical reality, tangibles, right? And then through messing with that, we gain an understanding. So if I go into the natural world, and I'm being a natural scientist, if we start from a clean slate, I can go into the natural world and I can observe liquid and all natural places on Earth. I can observe its behaviour. I can look at it and I can see, oh, look, liquid does this, it does that. It takes the shape of its container. The surface is always parallel and level. If I tilt it, if I mess with it, it always levels off, it levels out. So, based on the natural observations and messing, I can now apply this into a device and I can call it a spirit level. I can take this natural substance, put it into a spirit level, it then becomes an applied science. I'm using it as a tool, an instrumentation of measurement to establish things being level. I can construct houses, I can make a dam to store water, I can whatever it might be. So there's a sequence of events that occurs in natural science, right, that you can depend on. And everything that you use in your everyday life, your clothes, your fucking jewellery, your makeup, your technology, your car, all these complex, intricate workings are based on actual substance. They're based on understanding the substance, the natural substances, how they work, and then how we can use them and apply them in everyday life, right? So these clowns that want to now take you into this realm again of fantasy, oh, you can't trust your senses and instrumentations is flawed. Well, in that case, nobody can prove anything. They're not going to prove a globe, level, plane, fucking concave, nothing. Why are these people even here? We have to have a common ground of understanding that there is an objective reality and that things obey certain laws and act in certain ways, right? And then we can move forward from that. But these people are hell-bent and keep me in confusion. It's on your mind. Reality is abstract. It's not really what it seems to be. Don't trust anything, but you need to trust these higher beings, these godlike figures who can figure it out for you. Piss off. If it's not practical and observable, testable and applied by everybody, then it's a lie, right? And again, for anybody new out there, that is exactly why your globe, if you want to believe in it, is a plastic fucking toy. So you need to remember this. The sequence of events, objective reality, the matter, the stuff came and it does exist before the language that is there to describe it. Things like mathematics, right? So if it doesn't fit into practical reality and it's not shown in tangible, actual substance, there's an issue. Now, this character showed a visual. Now, we've expressed clearly the difference between visuals and tangibles, which is exactly why I call the sky a red herring, because it is a visual, right? And this person, highlighted that by a small diagram, and it was parallel lines, but because of the design, it throws your eyes, your perception, and it makes it look as if the lines are squinty. Now, if you put a ruler up to that, an actual measuring device, you would see that they were parallel, right? So that's the difference. When you only have the visual and you have no substance to it, you can't trust it. You don't know what it is. It's only stories that people are going to tell you, right? Marshall, Gav, how you doing, guys?
All good here. How you doing?
How you doing, mate?
Hi, Marshall.
Oh. All right, Gav, you got some terrible feedback there, dude.
Is that coming from me, is it?
Not now. Okay, but cool.
Yeah. Happy birthday, John.
Yeah. How are you, mate? I take you hearing anything I was discussing there?
No, just kidding. So I don't know where did you end up?
Well, I'm just on this the sequence, natural science, observing the natural substances, figuring out how they work so that we can then apply them into things. So I gave the example, obviously, of liquid. We can depend on its physical behaviour. We can then put that into an instrument like a spirit level. We can depend on it and it becomes an applied science. So I'm just trying to show people the sequence of events and also discussing the character with the difference between a visible and a tangible, and why, obviously, we've stated it numerous times, visuals alone can't be trusted, and understood properly without the substance to it, So that's pretty much what I was giving the example that they give of, a wee image where it is parallel lines, but because of the colouring and the way it's designed, it looks as if the lines are both kilter to each other. But you could resolve that if you were ever on a, misunderstanding of what your eyes are actually seeing. You can take an instrumentation like a ruler, and measure the spacing between each line to establish if they're parallel or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you can walk around then the object, and see it from lots of different angles so that, one particular eye in one given situation will not give you the whole truth, You need to have it from all kinds of different situations. And yeah, absolutely. You need to take a ruler to it. Doesn't matter what kind of ruler. We talked about that last week, right? The quantities need to be measured by their own kind. So, you want to measure a length, you take a line, yeah? You want to measure a surface, you take a surface, yeah? You want to measure a volume, you take another volume, yeah? And you measure stuff like that, yeah? But it all has to do with physical quantities, yeah? And visibles are not tangibles, yeah? There is a very big distinction that needs to be made. I think it's something that, doesn't get talked about. We've said that often enough, right? And that when that discernment is made that these two things are in fact different, then that's when, we actually understand that we need to measure things differently in a different way and understand what we're seeing is not, what we might think it is, yeah? So, absolutely.
Yeah, so as I say, there seems to be this attempt to try and undermine, exactly what it is we're saying. And this whole attitude of, nothing can be trusted, it's just utter fucking lunacy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest nonsense, when you hear that argument against common sense or argument, where they, for example, they say, optical illusions show you that your eyes can't be trusted, Well, no, it just shows you that you don't quite understand how your eye operates, right? But it doesn't, there's nothing wrong with your senses. They always operate the same way, right? They always operate in the same natural, constitution that we all have. So, that's just a false argument. Another one of these, ignoratio elenchi, misrepresentations of what's being said. But yeah, that's all they've got though, Dale. We've talked about that before. They don't have anything else so they have to throw sophism at us.
And I referenced the whole quote about zealotry and it being dangerous. And if I base my understanding on objective reality and what it actually is, and I accept that, if that's being a zealot, then by all means call me a fucking zealot. But you then say it's dangerous. You have to ask the question: well, who is it dangerous to?
Absolutely.
It's dangerous to deceivers, people who want to obscure the truth and pull you away from experiencing actual reality for what it is.
Yeah. I mean, what can anybody possibly have against inquiry, right? And especially inquiry based on your common senses. To just pull it back to that, every single advancement of science has been made on the basis of, things like physical substances and using our physical, body to actually build stuff, construct stuff, measure stuff, So, if you start denying those senses that got us here in this state, then, you're just, it's not even an argument. It's just absurd,
You shouldn't be trusting the chair you're sitting on. You shouldn't be trusting the walls of your house, the construction of your house. You shouldn't be trusting the clothes you're wearing, whether you're wearing makeup, jewellery, fucking whatever it is, none of that should be trusted, apparently, because it's not really there and we've got it all right.
Well, I mean, what I think, I keep trying to think of examples that make it clear to people, but so I'll take the one of crossing over the road, right? When you cross over the road, then, and you look to see if cars are coming and you see cars rushing past your head or your face, then you're going to see, your primary concern is not to hit that physical object or not let that physical object hit you. Otherwise, you're a dead man, right? So what you don't tend to notice is how the visible figure of the things that are going past you are continuously changing, right? If you actually attend to that, then you'll see the car change shape, right? When it's coming towards you, when it's going away, different cars, different shapes and sizes. But even one car moving along is going to change in its visible figure. Now, the very fact that all your attention is focused on not getting hit by a physical object means that you don't really see all that stuff happening. You just, your attention is to get across the road, right? And that's why, everything around visible figure and what we see is just not attended to. People don't recognize it. We don't theorize on it. There's no mathematical propositions. I've said that, lots of times that, it just gets completely ignored, And if we do that, then we ignore one integral part of how we operate, right? How we actually observe and can take note of the nature and reality around us. And by not knowing it and by not discerning that difference between the two, that's where all these paradoxes start to happen, where people seem to think, visual phenomena are explained then in other ways, and then they can tell us fairy stories, right?
That's a great point, as you say, in your visual frequency, if you're aware of that or attending to it, the car will change and morph and as it moves past you, but that substance is definite in its form, and every single wee millimetre, if any of that piece of substance strikes you, it's going to have an impact. As objectively there, it's objectively true, and that's the difference between the substance and the tangible. It doesn't matter if your wee tiny corner clips you, you're still going to be hit with that, And that's what we're trying to show people. There's a huge difference between the visible and tangibles.
Absolutely.
So that's the same as, some clowns commented again, why do you never interview astrophysicists? What, people who look at fucking visibles in the sky and make up fucking stories? Why would I want to speak to somebody like that? Bring an actual physicist, somebody that's going to come forward and start defending curvy, rotund bodies of water, conforming to the exterior of fucking shapes, people who deal with actual substance, because nobody who deals with any actual substance would ever dare come forward and try and suggest anything, any lunacy like that, That's why they keep referring you to astrophysicists, storytellers, people that wander away into fantasy about the visuals they see in the sky, Well,
that's the thing. They base their whole science on a few principles around what vision means to them, right? I mean, it's either light spectroscopy, right? Where, you're looking at spectrums of different, wavelengths, seeing what the colors are, and on the basis of that inferring, what you've got, or things like measuring the angular distance of things, right? Which is, again, I mean, all these things are visual phenomena, right? So their whole science is based on visual phenomena, which, as we've seen, is not the same as natural science, right? It's not the same as physical substance, and people need to understand the two. The astronomical stuff is all conjecture based on certain definitions and interpretations of these visible phenomena. But if they're wrong with the interpretation explanation of that visible phenomena, then they're wrong all the way down the line, right? So people need to see that, if you go back to the first principles of what astronomy is all about, the mathematical definition of an astronomical horizon, or what is level, all this nonsense about, the tangent plane to a sphere, right, from the middle of a sphere. If you get past those definitions, then all they have is visible phenomena, and that's what their whole argument is based on. So, they need to look very carefully at their assumptions, because we're looking at them. You can bet your arse that is,
And for me, any layman, any common people out there, everybody out there, things have to come back to practicality and actual substance. If we don't know what the substances are, if we can't create things practically for the claims that people are making, then why would you ever take it as reality? That's where the zealotry comes. That's the dangerous part. You start trying to pull people away from actual substance and still claiming that it's some sort of science. Fair enough. There's sciences that you can apply that are different, like social sciences, how people behave, what a subjective experience is, and we can discuss these things and you can apply them in certain places. But for this question about objective reality and what it's made up of, it has to come down to substance, actual tangible things.
I actually think the accusation of zealotry is actually wrong, because it's a word that actually is focused on the definition of people chasing ideals, or idealistic religious beliefs or whatever, and pushing them, or political beliefs. And as a realist, you're the complete opposite of an idealist. So zealotry doesn't even fit. Synthetic is the correct word, I think. But anyway, that's playing with words as well, usually, the usual stuff,
That's it. Again, you can see that push, and obviously that's a real problem for them, understanding real science, substance, and coupling that with, how logic works, how people's minds work. That, these are the threats to any manipulative controllers. So that's why they're going to have a problem with it,
Yep, absolutely. I mean, again, the best word that I can find that's been manipulated is the word level. I know there's a video on the channel about that, which I urge people to watch. It's very short, but this whole the difference between the mathematical formal science and the natural science is that we can go out and view level water, right? But a mathematician will redefine level, to be this tangent plane to a sphere, and from his point of view, okay, if he believes in that definition, then he will go on to believe his conclusions, right? But that definition is just that. It's a mathematical definition. There's no truth in there. You don't have them. They're not true or false definitions. They're just definitions, right? And the question then becomes, well, what is the one definition that actually correctly describes the reality we have? What are the self-evident truths that me, you, and everybody else can actually go out and prove for ourselves? And as soon as we give that capability away, i.e., we don't allow science to be measured on the basis of actual experience by normal people in everyday physical reality. If we give that away and say, okay, we'll believe your definition of level and you can go away and tell us a story, as soon as you give that up, you've got no way of proving anymore to yourself whether they're telling you shite or not, right? And that's the really important part, that people shouldn't allow that to happen. And to be honest, science, if it was absolutely honest with itself, would make sure that the definitions and the things that they bring to the table within their formal science is phrased in such a way that it's understandable by everybody, because they always go, oh, it's too difficult for you to understand and you need to have a degree to understand it. And that's a fault of science, because there's nothing difficult about it, right? If we get down to the word level, then why can we not all agree on what is the first definition of level, the true definition of level? Why do we need to have 5 different ones depending on which branch of mathematics or physics you work with? It's nonsense. It's there to confuse us, right? If you ask me. And it's about time it stopped. It's about time everybody started and said, well, okay, let's talk about the definition of level. What is the correct one? What can everybody prove for themselves and agree on? Because that way we can agree then on how to progress further, right? And keep this discussion reasonable instead of debating or talking, fighting.
That just shows you, because debates, they're for ideas. When it comes to objective truths, there's no two sides to it. Again, repetition, but it's the case. You can only debate an idea. If something's either either true or untrue. There's no debating it. If you're talking about substance and actually objective reality.
Yep. All you can do is defend positions of ideology, but you're not actually having a mutual analysis or a mutual continuance of inquiry to find out, new stuff. All you're doing is debating your ideas. Yeah.
It's us sitting here debating whether or not, we jump in the fire, we're going to fucking burn. I mean, subjectively established that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
The same as the application of water within, construction or whatever area we apply it. It's objectively true. It's a substance that can be checked and tested by everybody. That's proper peer review.
Yep.
No, I've got this wee story and my buddies who are, involved and invested in the same agenda are going to say, aye, that's correct. We'll pass it through. Bollocks.
Yeah, peer review is not peer review through your pals or through, specialists, I think every piece of natural science has to pass the common judgment of the common man, yeah? And if it doesn't do that, there's something wrong with it, yeah? It can't possibly contradict what we experience every day, right? So, and if it does that, then somebody needs to go away and rethink it, yeah? Or if they have a problem that they can't explain it properly, then they need to come back and use proper words, define the words that they're using, and then, make sure that there's a common understanding, yeah? So without these two things, it's hopeless, yeah?
I mean, I see there we've got one of the trolls, this Gem Panda, Jeremy, the English chap, still, and so can we trust our eyes, what we see, or can we know, his exact views? Well, it's pretty fucking clear. If all you have is a visual, then whatever you're telling us, whatever story it is, what's it based on? It's not based on understanding the substance. It's flawed. You don't have, anything doing that's accurate,
Yep. I mean, I think people should just, if you try and set yourself back to 6 weeks old, right? You're a baby, yeah? And you're lying there and you can't move, yeah? And your eyes are open and you're seeing lots of stuff, right? Now, the only way for you to actually know what these visible figures are that are going in front of your eyes is to at some point actually get up and touch it, right? Yeah. Touch it from all sides, pick it up, put it in your mouth, yeah? Play with stuff. You know how children are always repeating things, that, they're doing things from all kinds of different angles. That's part of that process. If the visible figure would give them, the absolute knowledge, then they wouldn't need to get up and move around.
Exactly.
The tangible stuff is the most important part in learning anything, right? Yeah. And the visible signs are just helping you identify physical objects, but they alone can do absolutely nothing for you. And if all we've ever seen in our life is a disc in the sky, whether it's the moon or the sun or a light, and we've never ever been there and we can't see it from all sides and we can't land on it and touch it, then that's all it is. It's like a 6-year-old baby looking at the light, right? So how can we believe that? Yeah, because as we know ourselves, we have to get up off our ass and go and touch it. Yeah. Exactly. So that's
And I mean, again,
a bit placative here, but I'm just trying to drive the point home.
You're right. And even in that analogy that a child, it doesn't have any preconceived ideas or beliefs about the world. If it sees a fucking square building block, it goes out of that building block, it picks it up, it has definite form, and it's subject to that. I'll put it in my mouth. Oh, that's a sharp corner, right? I know that pointy bit hurts me. It's for and that's true for every single person that picks that block up.
They'll try and put it in a round hole. It won't work. They'll understand the difference between circles and squares. And let's face it, every single person on this earth has went through that experience. Everybody. So when you start to deny that that's the way you learn, and that's the difference between visibles and tangible, it's just nonsense. You can't have a reasonable discussion with somebody who doesn't understand that. That we've got here, and we have that knowledge through that learning of associating visible signs with tangible objects. But in the case of the stuff in the sky, we don't have the association to tangible. All we see are visibles, and we've never had any other experience apart from 500 lying Freemasons, right? So who are telling the stories. So how are we supposed to know? Yeah,
exactly.
So any theory based on that is just that conjecture. Yeah,
which again is why it has to come back to practicality, and all claims should be shown practically. Otherwise, get to fuck. It's as simple as that for me. I'm not accepting any of that sophism, any of that nonsense, and neither should anybody else. It's time for people to have zero tolerance towards that and embrace actual science. You hear this scientism, oh, science, this, that, and the next thing. Well, I've said it from day one. Even if you're a religious person out there, real science is your tools as well. They're the tools to set you free from any manipulation. And you should be embracing it and employing it.
And I can only appeal to people who have religious beliefs that they also discern between, a belief in a construction or a creation from natural science, right? Because these two things are completely different. One still involves a leap of faith, right? And the other one doesn't. The other one can actually be tried, tested, measured, repeated by everybody. So let's agree on that one, because that's the one we can all do. And the other one, everybody should shelve until we get that full disclosure, full exploration, as you keep saying, and full understanding. Yeah. That's at least my wish to everybody who has a religious belief. Yeah.
I would, that's like me, I would rather people just shelved it, and if people can actually get together and establish what the objective truth. So we have all these senses. If people believe in God, you can call them your God-given senses. So, this God has given you all these things in order for you to explore and establish what this experience actually is. It would be for a reason. There's no, you're going to invoke that your God's some mystical fucking joker, as you pointed out the last time. Gives you enough just to get you by, but not enough to actually figure out what's really going on. I mean, that's fucking preposterous.
It's cruel.
Yeah. Again, for me, it all points to this. There's things that we can find out, we can get out there and actually figure out and find out what the bigger story actually is, through natural science and progression.
Yep, let's get that first here. Absolutely. And, it's not as if I don't, and I know you don't, Del, we don't entertain, well, we do entertain thoughts of creation and what it's all about, and all that's fine and good, yeah? And it's, it's healthy in a way as well, right, to have these discussions and think about it. But at the same time, the first stage always has to be, let's get this exploration, let's know where we are, let's use our senses, nature-given, God-given, whatever you want to call it, let's understand how they work, and let's understand how we can apply them to get as much knowledge as we can, because that's not what we're doing, right? We're looking at stuff in the sky and people are telling us stories, So, that has to stop if we're going to progress and get out of this mess.
And all this pursuit of what is the stuff actually made of? What can we get right into? Let's ditch that and just keep exploring the stuff. How far does the stuff go? That's what I'm more interested in. What is it? What's right at the fundamentals of it?
Yeah, well, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, people will differ in opinion on that, but I do think as well the first priority is to find out the full dimensions of where we are and make sure that the lie that we've been told is known to everybody. And to understand what's in the microscopic, all well and good. I don't believe half the stuff I hear there either. Yeah, so it does need investigation, but again, I'd shelve that until we know where we are, until we have a critical mass of people that want to know the same thing. Yeah, and then we'll all be able to move in a direction, hopefully.
Well, that's it. That's the main thing. Always go back to that. Focus on the claim that you were born into. That's where the burden lies. Just because you believed it for whatever many years and then you decide to investigate it, there's no burden on you to provide anything. You focus on that claim, and if you don't have an answer or something to replace it, fine. You just shelve it as an ongoing investigation. You don't have to come up with anything. Preposterous for anybody to expect you to have the answers to every fucking question they put to you.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was talking actually with Glenn earlier on about that. This discussion about the geometry of visibles and how much has been acquired into it and how little has been done, right? And how difficult it is for 2 or 3 people or how many people are looking at it to actually make progress, or the Globers to demand answers. I've seen people saying, well, if it's all perspective, then show us the formula. Yeah, and it's ludicrous for them to ask us to provide that after 300 years of darkness or more, right? And we're all supposed to jump up. So again, those are things that are just meant to dishearten us, to keep us down, or to make us look as if okay, if you haven't got answers, it can't be right. But that's just a completely unfair way of looking at it, right?
They're sitting there on their intellectual fake high horse, with fucking false answers, thinking they're high and mighty, and because you don't have something to replace their falsities, then you're somehow wrong. Well, that's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works.
How science works either. Again, get back to the history of the ability to say it doesn't know. So then you can have progression and start to understand and start to build knowledge.
Yeah. And I mean, with all these things, I keep going back to. I think I've said this once before. Every measurement of anything also needs to say within which error range we're talking about here, because any measurement has a certain error, right? And when they start to talk about how old the Big Bang is, right, and then you ask them the question, well, what is your error margin in that? Yeah, then and it's, it's preposterous, I mean, it's the same, it's ridiculous, like the same way the sun was only 12 million miles away, then it was 200 millions, and nowadays it's 93, the error margins are so huge, it's actually laughable science, right? Because any practical, science shouldn't have margin, errors of margin that are 200%, it's just nonsense,
If people are claiming things to be, objectively true, if I say to you, I can create this thing that I'm going to call fire, and I can do it by rubbing these two substances together, I can practically show you that, and show you it right there, and then you can end it and recreate it. Somebody comes to me and says, this all started by a big expansion or a big bang, 4.5 billion. Can you recreate that? Can you show me it practically? No. Well, get to fuck then.
Absolutely.
How is that? How should I ever accept that as reality?
Yeah. If you can't rub two Boy Scouts together to get a fire, then you're useless. Yeah, no, you're quite right.
But people think that that's too simplistic and things are, but it is simplistic. You got to remember the sophism, the cult, that is the complicated part. It has to be complicated because it's a lie on top of a lie on top of a lie. And they have to keep adding to it, keep making it, extrapolate on it, make it more complex, because it is a lie.
It takes 4 years to go through all the lies and understand all the lies. That's why they send you to whatever university to remember it all. But it is a lot simpler than that, eh? Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, as I said earlier, that chronological sequence, first and foremost, natural science, how do substances behave. Then once you understand that, you can start to apply it. So then you get into your branches, engineering, whatever it might be. And then there's expertise, avenues of that people have got more knowledge in, other understandings of. But it all comes back to the simplistic understanding of the substance before it can be applied,
Yep.
And that's the bit we need to get to people.
Well, that's the thing. I think, there's far too much value placed on, a theoretical physics, or theoretical mathematics, and not enough on applied mathematics, where, these things would be much more apparent to everybody, right? That you're actually, that mathematics is useful, physics as well. But when they start to wander off in cosmologies, make up their own definitions, and then just invoke visible proofs and no tangibles, then, you're so far away from real science, in my opinion, right? It's all just theoretical conjectures,
and it's useful math again. It's not like, people think, you're just rubbish in math, all math is useless. No, again, it comes into the applied aspect. Mathematics can be sent to some engineer regarding a V8 internal combustion engine. He can then decipher that through, the mathematical blueprints he's given. He can then create that. Then it's based on an actual substance, an actual tangible that's applied, that's used, which is great. As soon as you start getting your mathematics for big bangs and all this shite, where's a practical example? Create it, show me it, no go at it, right? Bollocks.
Yep, that's exactly the attitude that needs to be taken. And in science, not just by yourself and by the common man, Dale, it's what scientists need to go back to looking at, right?
Yep.
It's all very well, or if they do want to conjecture, then let's label it very clearly as conjecture. This is conjecture and CGI. We do not fucking know, I have no problem if NASA said that, right? If they were saying this is all conjecture and it could be fine, right? Then they can go, I know to ignore it, I know that it's not the reality, but that's not what they do, right? They just, they hide behind it.
They lump it all together and say science. But it's just like you say, there is a science of storytelling. There is a science, you could say there's a science of conjecture or theorising, right? But it should be labelled as that. Yeah, it's science, but its category is that of speculation. It's the science of imagination.
Speculative science, imaginative science. No problem with that. They can do that all day, It might even be worth funding, because it does, bring ideas and stuff like that. But it needs to be clearly labelled as such,
But it's this lumping it all together, putting it under the umbrella and using it as a mantra, to control people. Science, we are high and mighty, we know. No, let's get in about it and divide it up and see what the separations are, As you say, categorise them and label them properly, so that people are clear on definitions and what it is they're actually looking at,
There's no reason that it can't be done, right? I mean, it's just a choice of words and making sure that science needs to make sure that they explain things and use words that the common man use, not the other way around, They can't go away and invent words and expect us to understand it, it, right? They have to use common words. So if we talk about what level is, then science should be using level in the exact same way that we use level every day, right? It shouldn't go away and redefine level and then come back with equations based on that saying, look, this is the way it really is. You're too dumb to understand. That is not correct, right? That is a fault of science in general.
Exactly. And they have, invested greatly in the science of manipulating people. There's a science behind how you can affect human beings and, affect their mind, play on their insecurities, their ignorance, and they have applied that understanding as well. So
absolutely,
there's so many branches of science, but the one that we're focused on is back to substance, about objective truths, the forms of the world that we're experiencing.
Well, I mean, I think the one they play on all the time is the visual one. That's the one where the operations of the mind that go along with your senses and how your visible perception works is the one that they play on, because it's the one we need, to 80% of our, daily life. You rely on your eyes, right? So, and since they also know how that works and they know more about it than the way, than we do, then that's how I think they can, use that manipulation.
Even a fucking blind man would know that liquid takes the shape of its fucking container.
Yep.
It's
absolutely. And he'll do that from touch, right? You'll know that from tangible experience again. Yeah.
If I don't get this right, I'm going to scald myself.
Yep. Exactly. I'm going to miss my mouth when I take a drink.
So, did you have something you wanted to share?
No, I actually never had any time. I've been a bit busy, my man, so I never got anything prepared. But
no problem, mate.
I'll try for the next week again. Make sure.
No, it's just what we're talking about anyway. I mean, the verbal's just as good without the visual.
Well, as I say, I'll be putting it all up anyway, and so that people can download it, especially the stuff that we've already done and some of the documents and stuff. So
there's a couple there that'll need to go up. I'll wait until we've got this out the road probably tomorrow, and I'll upload them.
Aye, any bother. Right, anytime.
So again, for me, these are parts of the Psyop, and obviously the emotional and psychological games that are going on around about us. But the main one for me right now is this trying to push people away from exactly what we're talking about, direct realism and substance, and the difference between them. Substance, tangibles and visuals.
Yep. Well, I can only again urge people to look at direct realism, what it means, and also to look at the latest conversations, if you like, in universities among the biggest experts in philosophy. Nearly every single one of them is coming round to understanding that direct realism is the correct way to look at things, and that idealism and skepticism have just left a philosophical disaster behind. People should look at that. So if these trolls come with arguments against direct realism, all I can do is laugh, because nature and the truth, all they can do is laugh at that puny artillery that they're trying to bring towards us, right? The same with common sense. If you deny common sense, you're just, what say? You're denying the foundation of all knowledge. So that includes yourself.
These astrophysicists and all these people, that we're referring to, they apply common sense and direct realism every single day. For granted. I don't see them throwing all their instrumentations, their technology away based on, idealism or skepticism. Well, it's not really there. I can't trust it.
No, exactly. No, it's a completely false argument. It won't win, if you ask me, but it's obviously the direction they're trying to go, They've been watching too much Beyond the Imaginary Curve.
But it's true though, you see that in the last few years of taking is that try to take people into these realms of abstraction, multiverses and fucking string theory, and I've said it before, reality is not really what it is. It's on your mind interprets it and makes it what it is, and fuck off.
Right, no, it's nonsense. I mean, they talk about, was it in mathematics, they need 11 dimensions to describe the reality properly, I don't even know, the mathematician who sat there and thinking 11 dimensions, I mean, he must have been thinking to himself, what the fuck, where are they, I mean, if he'd even had that, you can just imagine, I mean, he probably can't live much without his mum, anyway, if he's already thinking about 11 dimensions, he probably went from school to university, stayed there, and, his mum still irons his clothes,
No practical experience at all. I mean, all the laymen and all the people who apply these things in everyday existence, leveling tools, understanding liquids and fluids, how they behave, depending on them to measure, construct, fucking, throw all that out the window because mummy's boy here has got a fucking...
11. It's risible. It's pure, absolutely risible. That's all it is. Yeah, should be laughed at. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. That's where people need to keep pushing, you know. And for me, they're fucking scared of that because it's a threat to their manipulative controls, you know.
Absolutely. As soon as people see through that bullshit, you know, or see through the fact that these are stories and that they've got no basis in reality, then, you know, that can only scare them, because that's how they've got us all, you know, sleeping beauty for the last 100 years, dreaming, right? But if the people wake up and discover all the thorny bushes that, you know, that are surrounding them, then, you know, of course they're scared of that.
Yeah.
They're scared of this message, without a doubt. Yeah.
And that brings me on it. You know, I appreciate anybody who gives us the opportunity to take this message further and get it to be heard. So, you know, we're on for Friday, I think, are we? Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah, well, I've got a confirmation that for Friday at 12 o'clock noon Pacific time, for that radio show in America.
Aye, so for people out there, we were contacted by Eddie Bravo, who's asked us to come on and discuss this topic. So, you know, we only appreciate anybody who's willing to give us time and to reach a wider populace to get our message across. So for anybody who's interested in it, it's going to be 9 p.m. my time, so it'll be 10 p.m. for you. So
that's right.
12 PST, you said?
Yeah, it's noon Pacific Standard Time, which is 9 o'clock UK time.
Yeah. So again, people can have their opinions on that, but regardless, you know, the only thing that we're interested in is getting the opportunity to get this to as many people as we possibly can.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So I suppose it's a good organ to go out and reach maybe some of these people over the pond that you know, obviously everybody is in different time zones, so it's difficult for maybe them to come and listen to this. Yeah. So if we've got the opportunity to do it over there at a time reasonable to them, then good. Yeah. But we're going to take the opportunity anyway. So
yeah. And also, you know, just thank Eric because he put us forward for that and suggested it. So it's much appreciated for anybody who wants to have progression and get this message spread, you know.
Yep. Cheers, Eric.
Yeah. So I never really paid much attention to this whole eclipse thing. I don't know if you did, you know, put that in the title, but to be honest with you, you know, I'm always going to get back. It's a red herring. You know, it's going to bring more speculation. You know, it's not really going to resolve or answer any of the questions in regards to the full dimensions of Earth.
Yep.
You know,
I'm exactly of the same opinion. I know there's some certain visible phenomena that have been seen and people have filmed. And you know, I don't know what to make of it. There's all kinds of discussions whether it's lens flare and, you know, all kinds of things. So, and I'm not an expert in all these fields and don't pretend to be. But at the same time, you know, what you will see is obviously that whole thing then being debated for another 3 or 4 weeks, and then there'll be meteors or whatever else will come along. And for me, it's always still the same thing. We're talking about these things in the sky and dissecting photos and analysing film footage. But what we're not talking about is these first principles, these definitions of, you know, what it is, what we can actually experience, what is it we actually know, what are the definitions of these, you know, absolutely fundamental terms like levelness and horizon. And, you know, let's please have that discussion and not, again, look at a picture and defend positions of ideology, you know. So even if there is things that are different and are problematic, I still think they're missing the bigger necessity, which is to get scientists or academics and the common man sitting together and discussing what are the meanings of these things first. Because if we don't have that, we're just talking past each other, you know. I hate repeating myself, but
it has to be repeated, man. You know, that's exactly it. If we don't have these first principles, these common grounds to work upon, then, you know, everybody's going to be divided up into these separate camps all the time.
Yep.
And again, you know, bring it back. It doesn't matter what camp you're in. Objective reality is what it is, regardless of what anybody prefers.
Yep.
So there isn't two definitions of level. Level is based on, you know, actual substance and what we observe and test in actual reality.
Yep.
You know, and, you know, part of the manipulation is that, exactly that. All these different labels and terminologies and meanings for what we class as level tells you that there's a deception.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. No, that needs to come back to a mutual agreement on what these things mean. Yep. And then we can discuss things, you know. Then it's okay to look at something and a picture and say, well, okay, let's dissect it, or based on what we know, how our vision works and how these things are observed, let's then talk about it. But we're going then from a common definition of what we all mean using the same word, and not from some astrophysicist interpretation in an inertial frame of reference that's, you know, whatever, you know, tied to the solar system, and showing animations of stuff maybe going the wrong way around based on his definition definition of how he sees it, and us sitting here and there saying, well, wait a minute, that's not the same, you know. But if I don't know how he's defined it, sure, I can argue with him, but it's not bringing me anything, right? You know. So he needs to come to the table and discuss exactly what he's basing his assumptions on and what these, you know.
Yeah, and it's a separate field again. You know, this field here that we're interested in is Earth, the dimensions of Earth. You know, and that's why I always refer to the sky as a red herring. You're not getting anything measurable in regards to the shape of the Earth by looking up there.
No.
It's possible. It's a total lunacy. Yeah,
I fully agree with you.
Yeah, just see what people are saying in the chat here, mate.
I know, good. Yeah, so Friday night, I suppose it's not the best night of the week, Friday night for people, but Friday night, 9 o'clock UK time.
Yeah.
I don't even know the URL to tell anybody, but because we haven't got it, or I don't have it, so.
No, well, you know, we'll get some confirmation tomorrow and something that I can post up there to let people know if they're interested.
Yep.
As I say, it's the opportunity to get the message to other people. So people saying in chat about any of this. And if anybody wants to come in and discuss any of the topics or the things that we're bringing up right now, just send an email to nocurve@gmx, or you can, I'll stick this phone on where I'm here. If you want to phone or text, the number is 07393 654 544. I've got a couple of messages here, Gary. I'm just going to read them out as they're coming in.
All right, go for it.
Well, no, I got that one earlier. Somebody sent a link. I'm not going to be able to get that. Check this out if you've not seen it. A little long-winded, but he gets to the point. Keep up the good fight, brother. Paul, 35, Free Thinker, Stoke-on-Trent. No, cheers, Paul. I'll have a wee look at that later on. But again, that number, if you want to call or message, is 07393 654 544. And if you want to come in and event to say, whoever you're out there who wants to deny any of the things we're discussing, you need to send an email to nocurve@gmx.com. Here we go. Citizen Z, be funny if it ends up being something totally different than just flat or spherical. Well, again, you know, I'm going to reiterate that to people what flat means to me, you know, based on substance and, you know, tests and observations. It would be a level plane. What the full dimensions are could be anything. I mean, we could be inside a sphere, we could be inside a fucking pyramid for all I know. I mean, these things are yet to be established. We don't subscribe to any particular model in regards to the full dimensions, but you can bet your ass that, you know, it's level, you know, or it's stages of level. It might have steps down to another level, but it's certainly not the exterior any fucking shape. It's a container. Oops. One man has detected, level-headed, common sense, no drama, little friendly and intelligent, beyond imaginary curve. Thank you for that. Twitlet, the rocket will finally prove the Earth's shape. Well, we're talking about one rocket. You know, where did that get us the last time? You know, people put faith and belief in one, you know, institution and take on board images and video that are produced by these institutions. You know, I certainly don't. You've got to remember, people, you know, the substance and the physics come first. You don't, you know, depend on an image or a video, you know. It's, if the images and the videos don't match what we're testing in actual reality, then that's what the problem is. We need to get that sorted out. You know, people keep saying this, oh, we'll go up and then we'll be able to see once and for all. Again, you're basing things purely on a visible, you know.
Yep, it might advance us a little bit, but it's certainly not going to bring the whole picture. Absolutely.
It's not conclusive.
No.
No. Water is conclusive. It's, you know, undeniable. It's not going to change, and it's fucking accessible by everybody and testable by everybody. So why can people not just grasp onto that instead of all these other nonsensical endeavours, you know? Do anyone believe in realms? No, I would try not believe in anything. I mean, as we spoke about, you know, discussing these things is good for your imagination or advancing your thought. I mean, who knows what the full reality is, but all we know right now is where we are and what we're limited to.
Yep.
Doug, got a link request from Peter Dexter. No verification.
Right, no problem.
Okay. All right, Peter, your link's not going, dude.
So, I'm sure people are aware of some of the drama, the usual drama that goes on with this whole fucking thing, and personalities focus on other personalities and them getting antsy with each other and sending threats, and, you know, you need to be very careful of these things. Again, that's, you know, this is part of the fucking circus. It's not about the personalities, you know.
I know, it's very important. I think make sure that people understand that still. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good thing that, you know, you've pointed out and slapped people down that were obviously at it, Del, huh? Or obviously coming the cunt, as they say in Scotland, you know. So I think that's a good thing, and we need to have a no tolerance for it. But we certainly shouldn't have the whole discussion then focused on looking at these personalities or bitching about them, because, you know, that again is not necessarily progressing, yeah, in any inquiry. Yeah.
No. these people are going to be who they are regardless. I always say that people are going to set their stalls out, they're going to be what they are, and that's it. It's up to the people to discern who are going to them. Being a saviour and trying to save everybody for these individuals, it's not going to work. They're just going to add to the circus. Just remember what the subject's about. Natural science, objective truth, non-personal, nothing to do with that. Analyse content, analyse the walks. That's it.
Yep. And point out the contradictions. Don't get me wrong, and point out deceit. I've got no problem with that. Yeah, but
exactly.
I think that's also correct. But as I say, when it just degenerates into slagging matches that just distract from the real problematic situation we're all in, then I don't think it helps further after that. Yeah.
No, as I say, these types of things are going to end up leading to a physical encounter between people, and it could very well be staged, and it could all be there to bring about, unwanted attention to this whole subject. So people need to be fucking very careful of that.
Yep. Good point. I'll be back in a sec, Taylor.
No problem, mate. I'm just going to have a wee read through the chat here and see what people are saying while I'm rolling this. Rain of fire, fucking water, get it. Dance with zombies, please. Otherwise, you won't recognise the level to which I just insulted you. So we've got a globe disciple in here who is offering nothing but insults and trying to drag people into a psychological, emotional game, which is exactly the tools of any cult and its members. They don't have anything in the way of actual empirical stuffs. They just have this nonsense. Tony Rafferty, water tells us everything is flat, everything is level. It certainly does, Tony. If a body of water is standing and it's not flowing away, bet your ass that it's level. The preposterous, ideas of the globe is taking something like, any dam and bending both sides down and expecting the water to conform to that bend and keep it there. I mean, go look at the oceans on a fucking globe. People like these Gem Panda disciples, it is a fucking insult to your senses. It's an insult to actual science. And don't invoke scale. Oh, it does, it's some unspecified bigness. It does, magic takes grip, and the water's held up by wee invisible rods so that it displays convexity. And if you're making absurd, fanciful, fucking huge claims like that against all common sense, observed, tested reality, you better have something practical to show for it, right? Because you're just becoming so transparent now. It's this same rhetoric, this same crap that this cult keeps spouting out that knows fine well what we're asking for. It's no hard to get. We're not the dishonest, deceitful ones. We're basing things on practicality, actual observed, objective truths.
Again, Dale, to get back to the point, all they're basing their thing on is a definition, in a formal science, So, what you're saying is absolutely correct. All they really have is this, different definition of what they assume level to mean. Yeah. The point from the center of the sphere, to the curved ball, and then the tangent plane to that, and they can move it around, and they call that level. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's an insult to our intelligence, to be honest. Yeah.
But they're still here, and they'll still keep banging out with their rhetorical crap. Not unspecified, Dale, very specifically specified. Would you mean very specifically explained? As in words. Right? I can explain anything fancifully with words. You're missing the point. Where's the practicality?
And at what size does it actually then happen? I've yet to see that number.
Yeah, define these things clearly and concisely, and then show it practically. But again, it's all bunkum excuses. I can't show you unless I've got another planet out with this one, and because it interferes with it. But then at the same time, they're going to invoke shitty things like the Cavendish experiment. But oh no, it doesn't interfere with that. I mean, it's just full of so many contradictions. It's fucking laughable. At this point, anybody with any kind of discerning mind really shouldn't be taking the globe seriously whatsoever. It should just be ridiculed and laughed at.
Yep, that's all it's good for now.
Yep.
The quicker we get that phase out of the way, the quicker we can actually get, discussing, and having, progress. So,
well, again, people, Marshall just says to me there, if this character comes in, we don't know who this character is. If it's a sniper, that means that they'll shut the hangout down, they'll kick us out. If they do so, just turn your volume down, pay them no attention. This is an open platform. There is absolutely no reason for anybody to behave like that. So if they do, they're not worthy of any attention. It will shut down within 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and then it will kick back up again once it's over with. And we've had this so many times, so I'm just going to put that out there to people in case it does happen, because apparently we're waiting on Peter Dexter. Have we had any confirmation, Marshall, of Peter Dexter coming in?
No, we haven't, dude. And I responded in the immediate, so they would have been attentive to their mail.
Right.
I mean, to me, if it is you, dude, pull the trigger.
Yeah. I mean, what's with the hiding? Jim Panda, yes, everyone only listen to Dell lest you become indoctrinated. Well, it's an open platform. Jeremy, you're welcome to come in right now and state your globe disciple nonsense if you like. So don't sit there acting like, oh, just listen to us. Don't pull that shit. Beyond belief, come on, narcissists. Prove bodies of water, bend around shapes. West Coast, I like Dell's mood lighting. Marshall's B&Q background is a bit iffy. Well, I've not got my usual light source. I'm back to the wee lamp, so I'll need to persevere with that. Beyond belief, zealous globe disciples, yeah, because they are. I mean, they defend an idea with nothing practical to show for any of it, Pragmatic, lots of people hiding through that, yeah. Twitwit, just ignore the riffraff there, yeah. Well, at the same time, Twitwit, they appear in these comments, and I'm going to use every opportunity to highlight their idiocy or total lunacy. These clowns are the very clowns who make hit piece videos. They never come in for any discourse or any reasonable discussions. They're only interested in pushing their agenda, and that's it. I only go on hangouts where there is at least a small chance I will be treated fairly. Sadly, that rules out your hangout. That's total nonsense again. Again, the criteria here is that you don't talk over the top of people. You have, logical, reasonable discussion, manners, respect for each other. You don't come in with a drink in you, acting like a fucking lunatic, like you have done previously. And that's the only reason that you were ejected. So, and this is it. These people will act like this when it's an open platform. Anybody, bring an astrophysicist, a physicist, whatever walk of life you like. There is nobody that we will shy away from. Absolutely nobody. But you will find that they're shying away from us. Right. So, Gav, is there any kind of topics or anything that you want to bring up? Are you there? Are you away? Away. Still nothing on the link, Marshall?
No, I think we can assume that's being held for tactical reasons. Silly boys, playing silly games. The invitation is open, people. You can come and discuss things like an adult, or remain forever the child.
Hi, Del Red Machine. Kieran here. Saturday night's live show will have thousands of viewers if you're going on Eddie Bravo's show, guaranteed, pal. Well, it's really just about the message. That's my main incentive, and if that gets to however many other people, then fantastic, But again, I'm going to remind people, this is not about getting people's attentions to sit here like celebrities just for the sake of keeping their attention on idle nonsense, all the time. It's about progression, and if that helps, by all means, we'll embrace it. I've seen there was some debates going on in regards to shapes again, squares and blah, blah, blah. Again, people will research, they'll take a stance on whatever they find, which is fine. But to then, push that to everybody, we need to be in the agreement that it's not going to be resolved until we have that full exploration. Grasshopper 78, when they tried to start this cult, it was fiercely opposed. Then the men died and no real man has stepped up until now. Yeah, no, I'm sure there was a flurry of activity. We've been told that certain people died back in the day, and we've been told the stories about why. But for me, it would be this, because people back then with skills and understandings of reality and applying it, if some clown was to come along to some of these people and start telling them, the Earth's round with big bendy oceans, they're going to get laughed at. You would have to implement that through generations and dispose of people who are standing against it, which for me is probably what's happened. And you're quite right to call it a cult. I'm going to continue to call it a cult because that's exactly what it is. If it was scientific and it was, being represented by real science and real scientists, it would be open to discussion without any of this nonsense that we have all experienced in the last 3 years. This opposition to people, willing to pursue the reality that they're living in, asking valid questions, right? No, they pump out straw men, they get people to adopt it, they program them with these nonsense ideas, and then they come in and attack it with their fucking disciples, right? And then in the mainstream, ridicule and that's no fucking science. That's a religious institution trying to defend itself. 007, can I come and discuss? Of course you can. Send an email to nocurve@gmx.com. Jim Panda again, actually, I was the first person to engage you there, and my video addresses your argument specifically. Your comments and response are nothing but ad hom, as is the charge I was drunk, blah, 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 blah. I don't pay attention to your hit piece crap. You've offered nothing practical, right? You're offering sophism and an attempt to slant people's opinions of the man and of the things that I'm saying. The things that I'm saying and putting to people in the street are based in practicality. I can actually show them what I'm talking about with practical example. You can't canny, my man. So you've no a leg to stand on.
Or I'll link out to Dire Crow.
Cool. Do you know, Mariano, no moon before or after eclipse? Hello. Well, again, there was so many anomalies with that for me. Some interesting observations. But again, you know, nobody I know that is really qualified to start saying exactly what these things are. You know, we're waking up. We've been in the dark. So it's an investigation, an ongoing investigation for people like us. Truth spying, knowing the earth is flat is 1%. You're not free until you address the other 99%. 99% of what? Again, this subject matter is what we focus on here. Hello.
Hello, is that Dale?
Yeah, speaking.
How are you, Bar?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Great. Listen, I just noticed it was a wee bit quiet there, and I thought I'd phone you from Northern Ireland, Derry, and tell you you're doing a great job. I just wanted to make sure that somebody could post a number on the internet, and I could phone it, and it was possible for me to talk to you.
Aye, cool, man.
But it's not possible to be living on a spinning ball filled with water against a blanket.
Exactly, man.
All right, Bar.
Exactly.
Good to talk to you.
Cheers, buddy. Cheers for phoning.
All right, all the best.
Appreciate it, my man. Take it easy.
Cheers, out.
It's great, these phone calls. I love hearing from people out there. You know, it just lets us see that people are waking up to this and that the numbers are starting to, you know, climb. Oh, another phone call. Hello?
Hey, is this Dale?
Yeah, speaking.
Hey, sir, Raymond done call from Mama. How's things?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I missed your name there, bud.
Raymond.
Raymond, how you doing, bud?
I know why. Yeah, I'm just phoning in. So, I mean, obviously, you're one of the top voices involved. I watched your video the other day for the Membership Council. Yeah. And I was impressed. You made that little girl say.
Yeah, that was good.
I think it would be a bit of a hard sell, that crowd up there for the Membership Council.
Well, again, you know, for me, mate, it's just about pressing these people. It's not like we're asking them for any answers, but at the same time, you know, they've got to know that people are asking these questions, and them being public representatives, they better start representing the people, you know, and dealing with the issues at hand, you know.
What do you think of, I mean, have you looked much at Bitcoin and that kind of stuff? Interested in cryptocurrencies?
I've seen a wee bit. I kind of know what it is as a kind of overview, mate, but it's not something I've actually get involved in.
I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand to the whole flat off thing. I kind of see him. I don't know how long you've been into this.
Aye, 2.5 years, 3 years nearly, I think.
I'm the same. I mean, I was kind of bouncing around. You know, I think it's sort of the Matrix. We all kind of know something's not right, but you kind of put a finger on it. But flat off is kind of the Zetstone. They kind of puts it all together.
Yeah.
And it kind of unveils the scope of the deception that we live under.
Yeah, that's true, mate.
You know, the cryptocurrency kind of goes hand in hand with that. It's a way to disentangle ourselves with the forces that are going to keep us like change.
Yeah.
So I get kind of concerned that like flat off, we initially come into the revelation is mind blowing. Yeah. And that's really yourself. It takes a while to kind of for me to know how to get my head around it. Yeah. And I kind of went back and forth. I was like, it can't be true, it can't possibly be true. But the more and more pieces you put together, I realise it's not only is it true, but it's the most obvious thing in the world.
Yeah.
That's really yourself. It takes a while. So I think kind of concerned though that we're all kind of talking about the mechanics of flat off, and it's one of them. I wonder if they're using the mechanics of flat off to distract us from the bigger picture that we live in, you know, a control system.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, that's why my pursuit has always been that, mate. You know, we base things on objective reality, and we need that exploration because it will unravel, you know, a bigger picture for us. You know, that's where I'm pursuing. You know.
So as you see, your end goal was like, are you looking to have like a larger, like awakening, I suppose?
Aye, you know, for me, I set out, it was about getting the numbers awake, representing the actual truth of the situation, removing the nonsense, the stuff that doesn't need to be there. And if we can get that up to a big enough number, then, you know, the obvious is going to start happening, you know, where...
There's not fucking holes in the life system. Yeah. It's impressed me, obviously, by watching videos speaking out about the amount of people who actually got what they've done. Yeah. But just, you know, it's just on the peripheral, they haven't really analysed it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost, you wouldn't have to really I don't know what the trigger and everything. We should clear us up. Like 100 monkeys in the situations.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would be desirable to have some last percentage of population, awake.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody deserves to have the foundations and know exactly where they are. They've been born into this system that's sold them utter bollocks. So.
Well, look, you're not right. You said my son started school last week, and day one, asked him, like, what did you learn today? I said to him, we shaped the world. It was a drought. Yeah. It was a mountain like a disc. There was a mountain like a circle, like a football. It was all around like a football. And he was talking about dinosaurs, but designing dinosaur toys. I'm talking about that show. We're talking about it nursery last year. It's incredible. Like,
yeah.
How deep conspiracy goes.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
But it's a strong man. It's a total paper tiger because, as you know yourself, it's so obvious once you got the truth.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be too long there. I just thought I'm just fucking marvelling a few things tonight. So,
I need bother.
I enjoy watching your show and your street activism.
Aye, nice one, man.
There's a sign in M77 that says research farm.
Yeah.
You know what?
I've seen them. There's the D9, the M77, the M8. I think there's a few other places that have been spotted. Yeah.
That is fantastic, man.
Yeah.
I have to travel out with the game. I'm going to work, so it's nice to see it.
Nice one. Well, cheers for phoning, man. Appreciate it, man. Take it easy, bud. Cheers, man. Dyer Crow, how you doing, man? Are you there?
Dyer, you have to unmute yourself. So you have to unmute your microphone. Still muted.
I don't know if you're on a phone, if it's different, but there should be a wee microphone sign that's probably red. You just need to click that.
Is that it? No.
Yeah, that's us.
Got it. What's going on, fellas? Marshall, Gav, Elle, of course. How you doing, everybody? Joan, happy birthday.
How you doing, bud?
I'm good. I'm glad to have finally worked up the nerve to kind of to call in. I'm still a little bit shaky, but I'm going to try to keep it quick.
Don't worry about it, man. I know it's
I know. It's not. Yeah, I know. It's not easy for me. I'm one of those guys. I just me and the dogs. It's the only people I feel the only beings I feel comfortable around.
I can relate to that, man. Yeah, I was the exact same before I get involved in this.
No, yeah, I hear you. I just want to say I really appreciate what you guys have been doing. I really appreciate the channel and the platform, especially you, Del. Let me say, I've been in this, I guess, truth game, if you want to call it that, for about 10 years. It started with 9/11, but I didn't really wake up until 2006. I hit a dead end somewhere, I guess 2013, 2014, where I started to feel, I guess, I'm trying to find the word, like it was going nowhere. It was a circle jerk. It was a lot of talk, a lot of nothing, a lot of people, shaking their fists, but not banging on any doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of the things you said, a lot of things you expressed, I've been watching your channel for about, I guess, 3 or 4 months now. And you're the only person to express, well, so far that I've met at that point, to express the same ideas and the same concepts and the same what if type, thinking. You were the first person I've heard to say these things. You know what I mean? Like, you were the first person that really clicked. That every time I propose some of these ideas or some of these concepts or some of these what ifs in, other platforms on Facebook, I was ridiculed, pretty much the same old story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I felt pretty much isolated. Like I was the only one that how am I the only one to see this? For all these people that are, everybody's looking for aliens and they want to point their fingers at secret societies. And I'm like, yeah, that's all fucking great. But where do we go from here? Can we put all this shit aside for a second and stick to the basis that we have been lied to our entire lives, that generations before us and generations to come are all being deceived and we're all enslaved. And it's just, it's like people don't even care about that. They just care about being right. They care about their ideas being the one that's the right idea. That's all they care about. They care about being the one voice that spoke the one truth. And sometime in the future, we're going to write fucking books and build monuments to that fucking one idiot on fucking Facebook that said the world is a fucking spoon on a fucking whatever. Like, I'm like, where is this? Like, we're not leaders. We're not, we're just here to spread ideas. We're here to spread knowledge, basically. Because like I like to say, we don't have any knowledge. In my opinion, none of us have any knowledge. We've got a whole lot of ideas. We've got a whole lot of information. But all of that shit has been warped and confused and mishandled and misrepresented so much that it's not knowledge.
Yeah.
Not in my opinion, at least.
No.
But
no, you're quite right. There's too much of that, ideas thrown in there, and we were trying to strip it back to basing things on, objective truths, things that we can all verify or falsify. Every single one is, and this idolising and celebrityism. These are all mechanisms to hold people back and keep them in servitude.
I mean, exactly. It's like you mentioned the other day. It's funny too because this is one of my favorite books is Animal Farm. George Orwell's. Orwell's Animal Farm. Sorry, I'm a little screwed up, but and it's like, what's going to change? All right, so we prove ourselves right, and we become the leaders, and we position ourselves as leaders. Who's to say we're not going to do the same bullshit that they were doing to us?
Exactly, and that's why it's important to have people with the critical tools that they require, so that never happens. You know,
it's very important. But I don't see, like, I'm one of those, I guess people say realist or optimist or pessimist. Like, I keep it simple. Yeah. Half full or half empty, the cup is still full of fucking piss. Either way.
Exactly. Yeah, the cup is.
You know what I mean? So
this is a substance.
At this point, for all we know right now, it's piss.
Yeah.
And piss for the entirety of our lives. So whether you want to look at it half full or half empty is fucking irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm kind of waffling. I did have some kind of point somewhere in here, but I get weird sometimes. But like I said, I appreciate you guys a lot. You guys have done a lot, especially Merle. Merle, as I guess. I don't want to call out Merle and say, I guess Merle is kind of weird. I identify with Merle because he's my kind of weird, but Merle has dropped some bombs on this platform, man, that I don't know if people got. I know they hit me hard. I know you and Merle, a conversation between you and Merle, I'm going to be completely honest right now, almost brought me to tears a couple weeks back. More than once, I'll admit. You nearly brought me to tears because it's just, I've rarely, if ever, heard these kinds of profound, I guess you want to call them truth. I mean, they're truths to me. If they're truths to you guys, they're truths to me. So they're our kind of truths either way, but
that's it.
And it hit me. It hit me hard. But you know,
that's why it's
important. I wish I could be.
Sorry,
I'm sorry. I was just saying. Sorry. I wish I could be as active as you. I don't have the tools. I'm an emotional being, as you like to say, and it's kind of a new philosophy because I never really was like this. I was more of a passive, you know, let it be, you know, the universe or whatever, the forces will deal with that, man. These days, I'm like, people aren't going to stop talking shit to your face till you crack them in the mouth. You know what I mean? And I can't, you know, I was never really like that. I was never really an aggressive person, but I'm 5'2" tall. I'm half Puerto Rican and half Chinese from New York City. Not to say that I don't have anything going for me, but growing up where I did with my heritage and the fact that I'm freaking 5'2" fucking tall, I had to work for respect. I had to work really hard for any type of recognition. Still don't get it. I've got 20 years in construction and I got still people, you know, questioning my construction expertise. Like if I didn't work for $1 million company in New York City for fucking 10 years, like if I haven't been at this game for fucking 20 some odd years, you know, and it's like, why you're basically calling me a retard. When you say, well, I don't think that's right, and you have very little construction expertise to my a whole lot, you know what I'm saying? You're basically calling me a retard. And these days, I can't, that type of, I guess, disrespect just doesn't fly with me anymore because, again, I worked very hard to get any kind of recognition in this life, and to have no recognition at 40 years old with the things that I've done, the things that I've seen, it makes me want to fucking crack heads. That's why it's important, you know, you understand things that we talk about with the logic, you know, and take strength from that, and knowing that when people enter into these, that you can, you know, walk away with your head held high, knowing that they're flawed in their thinking, you know, rather than, you know, getting emotionally wound up about it. And I know it's difficult, you know, and it's difficult for me as well. I had to learn to channel that the emotions into, you know, understanding and how I can combat it with intellect, you know, rather than just lashing out at people, you know. Mm-hmm. I hear that. What I guess I've been described as a passionate person. You know, when I was a big sports fan, when I talked about sports, you could see I get worked up. You know, even if I'm talking about things that I love, I get very passionate. I get very, I guess, loud. And I know you understand that coming from you got the Scottish heritage, which I understand. I worked with an Irish and Scottish demolition and cement crew for 3 or 4 years. I got along with those guys great because we have the same type of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have the same type of mannerisms. I mean, I got longtime friends when I first came, hey, fucking asshole, what's going on with you, dick? We friends. That's how we talk to each other. That's how friends people get that. I understand. That's what actually drew me to you. I mean, I think the first video I caught of yours was, I think, like a response video. It was on Antarctic Warriors channel. And I had already been into Flat Earth about a year and a half at that point. You know, I listened to Bay, I listened to Powerland, I listened to a half a dozen other guys, even some of these religious nut jobs. Oh, religion. Don't even get me started on the whole religion thing. Don't even it just drives me nuts. It's just like another, and I don't understand how it's just another distraction. Like you're supplementing gravity and relativity with Jesus and God. Like you're doing the same thing. Yeah. Like I don't understand how. I've got nothing. Well, no, I do have some bones. That's another thing. I do have some bones to pick with God. Like you say, you know, God's kind of a cunt in this situation. The way he left us here, the way he put us here. You know, not that I have a beef with him, but he's like Lucy. He's got some fucking explaining to do. Either way, he's got some. He, she, whatever it is, he's got some explaining to do. This shit is not right.
Yeah, well, I've got questions for any of these people who invoke, you know, a loving creator type scenario. You know, I've got some fucking questions for them. on.
You don't even want to be around my family. My whole family. Right now, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. We moved down here from New York a couple of years back. And everybody, hold on. Hey, enough. I hear you. Enough. Relax. Sorry. All right. I know. But what was I saying? Completely forgot. The dog got me.
We're talking about religious.
But either way, back to the whole God thing. Let me just leave off with this. In my opinion, no matter who these deceivers are, these secret societies, you want to point the fingers at the Jews, you want to point the fingers at Jesuits, they're all the same entity. They're a kraken with hundreds of tentacles, thousands of suckers, and they're reaching everywhere, and they're infiltrating everything. It's one body with 1,000 tentacles, God help. In my opinion, this whole reality is a large-scale production of the man who would be king. You understand what I mean? They're not gods. They're not demons. They're not freaking interdimensional beings. They're not aliens. They're people. They're people pretending. They're people with knowledge about the world that we do not have, that are pretending to be something that they're not, and deifying them only makes them less, I guess. It's putting into your head that we cannot hurt them. We cannot harm them. We can't get to them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're taking ourselves out of the game before we even step on the field by deifying them. Yep. My opinion. To me, they're human. To me, they bleed and they die just as easy as we do. They may have bigger guns. They may have better technology, but a baseball bat can do just as much harm, in my opinion. Metaphorical baseball bat.
Yeah. Totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you.
No. Yeah. But again, let me let you guys go and get back to some real discussing and me stop waffling and sitting here acting all jittery. But I'm glad I can. I've been a little skittish because I didn't know if I could chime in on the tablet. I have no service. I have Wi-Fi. Just know I don't believe in cell phones anymore. I can't stand them, and nobody likes me anyway, so nobody wants to talk. So
I was just going to say,
I'm glad I can get in. Hopefully, I'll get back in on Saturday. I'm always here. I'm always listening, whether I'm in chat or not, whether I'm working or not. I always try to be tuned in because you guys are killing it. You guys really are. Gav, I saw some of the videos that you put. I didn't get through all of them, but you put up some good shit, Gav, and I really do appreciate it. It's easy. You make it. I've never been a math whiz in construction. I have a good eye for geometry, but as far as like the numbers and breaking it down, I've never really been able to understand it. You make it so easy to understand. You make it easy for a guy like me to understand. It's remarkable, and I really do appreciate it.
Well,
I really do.
And I'd just like to chime in on your point at the beginning about the knowledge, So, I mean, it's the same for me. I had to, how should I say, throw overboard a lot of the things I thought I knew and strip it right back to the bare necessities, if you like, to be able to then start from scratch. So, I hear you when you say that all knowledge is nonsense. At least, the stuff that everybody thinks they believe or thinks to be true, they really need to take a serious look at. So, you're hitting a very, very good point there, man. And that goes for everybody, especially the people who think they're mega intelligent, especially. I mean,
I have my moments. I have my moments of intelligence, of supreme intelligence, but it's, they're a rarity, and they definitely are outshined by my moments of pure idiocy. So I wouldn't be here if I wasn't an absolute idiot sometimes.
At least you know yourself and you're honest, mate, which is the most important.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know my limitations, but when it comes to certain things, when it comes to level, I don't want to hear anything about it. I've laid 1,000 blocks. I've laid hundreds of brick. I've built hundreds of houses, worked on multi-million-dollar job sites. I know fucking level. I can see level from a block and a half away. I'm looking at a brick wall across the street from my house right now, and I can tell you just how off those brick lines are from right here. And I guarantee I'll be within a half an inch every time. So to me, that's indisputable. To me, and you're absolutely right. Level is level. Water always finds its level. That's why levels are made with water. It's that simple.
That's it.
But again, it seems to be the simple things in this life that elude people the most. They seem to reach for the more fantastical explanations in this world, other than the base simple of level and the core principles that you guys have been talking about, which is another thing that's been getting me good the last couple of weeks. But either way, again, waffling, I do that.
Yeah, but you're quite right. Real knowledge is not, having some mathematician define something, having a graphics department make a lot of CGI, and then, telling that to be real. Yeah, the real knowledge is what you have, my man, because you have that practical experience and you've done it for 40 years or whatever long it was, 25.
20 some odd. Yeah. So I was 15. I'll be 40 I'll be 40 in February. So
yeah, that's it. It's people like yourself with the practical application, the practical experience, that are important. Just as Gav said, these people who fucking sit with their imagination and coming up with fucking 2 + 2 = 5.
I mean, yeah, that's actually my favorite term in the history of words is practical application. How many job sites I've gotten thrown off of for yelling at freaking architects because how am I supposed to make this work? And you could sit there behind your desk and draw up these specs all fucking day long, but if I can't build it, it's not practical application. You need to go back to the drawing board. It's that simple. I've gotten thrown off at least a dozen for calling architects idiots and asked, well, get the fuck out of here. You have no idea what you're talking about. And then you look at some of these buildings and I can see where the architect fucked up and where they made the contractor, fudge I could see it. I could see it from standing outside of a building. I could see if you got a row of 10 windows and 3 of those windows are too close, and they're not laid out all symmetrically, somebody done fucked up. Somebody messed up in the measurement, and they had to play with it to get it to work. If you got to play with things to get it to work, you done fucked up. Whether it comes out with, no matter what the end result, even though guaranteed the end result, you're always screwing somebody down the line. You change the schematics of a building, you're either screwing the electrician. The electricians are always screwing the carpenters are always screwing the sheetrockers are always screwing the mudders. Somebody down the line, their job got a lot harder and a lot more difficult because you fucked up on a simple measure somewhere down the line. I take that and look at this world, the measurements don't add up. I've seen a lot of examples. I've never been able to run around the world with a fucking tape measure myself, but I've heard plenty of people say the measurements don't add up. So I gotta believe, hey, I gotta believe somewhere down the line, somebody screwed up on the measurements and somebody's fudging the truth. Let me get these guys inside before they freak out. Hey, both of you, come on.
And that's actually a very good point as well, my man, what you said there about, if you take one measurement and you use that as the basis then of further measurements, then your errors, they scale massively very quickly. Yeah,
exactly.
We were talking about science never really showing what their errors are, their error margins are. And, that goes in that whole theme as well. You fuck up at the start, you get it wrong further down the line. Absolutely.
I mean, even though, at the end it probably works out, I guarantee somebody's job was very hard in trying to fudge the results. You know what I mean? And I guarantee there was a step somewhere in there missed. Somewhere down the line.
Watch the equations in mathematics afterwards as well to make them fit. It's the same thing. Yeah. Somebody gets the assumption wrong. They travel down the line, and then some mathematician's got to come in and botch it up with another equation to let's add refraction or something. To account for the anomalies. It's the same thing. You're good. It's literally the same example. Like I just try to base it on what I know.
Measurements screw up and you try to get me to hang something in the wall and your measurements are off, I'm going to end up putting a screw or a nail into some wiring, some piping. You know what I'm saying? Then you're going to have a big, huge mess on you. That's just the way I look at it. You screw up on the measurements, then I'm going to end up fucking somebody else's work up. And then my work can't get done.
Yep.
But
absolutely.
Not the awful.
Cheers, man. I just want to touch on your point again about, resonating with Merrill, which is another point which is hugely important. All different people out there you come in and express themselves, because the different personality types, the different walks of life will appeal to many different people, which is a great thing.
Yeah, it truly is, because you guys, not that I'm not still in a dark place right now, but you guys definitely brought me back from a really dark place to where I just gave up. Not that I gave up on searching for the truth, but I gave up on giving a fuck about people and their truths. Like I just can't. If these people are going to sit here and fight the truth, why am I going to fight for them?
Exactly.
Why should I fight for them? Why should I even fight for anything anymore? If everybody's going to fight me, I'm fighting to try to bring, put the power back in your hands, and you're fighting me at the same time. Like you understand what I know? I know I'm a little weird with words, but you understand what I mean?
Yeah, of course I do, mate. Of course I do.
And it broke me down. It broke me down, and it's not the first time. Like I said, back in 2013, before I really discovered flat Earth, I just couldn't with the ancient aliens. And then I realized once you could catch an episode of Ancient Aliens on the History Channel any time of day, 3 or 4, episodes in a row, I knew it was a psyop. Like it became obvious. And people were basing their whole belief structures around this. My brother bases his own belief structure around this. Like it kills me. I told him there was no such thing as aliens. He fucking threw something at me. Like, and I used to believe in aliens, and I was a big fan of Ancient Aliens. I read Von Daniken stuff when I was a young kid. I was really big into science when I was in high school. I mean, I had the one thing going for me. I was reading books like, To Kill a Mockingbird and I'm trying to think, 1984 and Animal Farm. I read those books when I was like 12, 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? Those books kind of meant something to me. It just shows the literary mind I guess I had. I'm not sure what that means anything, but
again, I think
I was really into that.
It's a very good example. When we're young, we are very creative people, right? Humans are creative. We do have imaginations. We think, and if they play on that at a young age, and fill our heads full of those kind of stories and imaginative things, then that's how they can foster these belief systems, because they know we're like that. But if we didn't have words, everybody would be a painter and a dancer. Yeah. So you know, and if they twist the words, then they get us out of that mode of actually using it usefully, right? But just fill our heads full of nonsense, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I remember, like I said, a lot of the things that, I mean, I've always been that way. I know you probably heard it, you know, 10 times before on this platform, but I've always been that way where it didn't make sense. You know, the world that they were telling us didn't make sense, but you brush it off because, you know, football, you know, I was a baseball player and I loved sports and I loved hockey, but, you know, who gives a fuck about the shape of the earth, man? The game is on this afternoon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my favorite movie's coming out this week.
Yep.
You know, but
there comes a point in your life where you realize that that's not really anything, you know, as how should I say, is fundamentally interesting and as fundamentally seriousness as getting this problem solved, right? Because I mean, I actually, you know, you were talking about coming to tears. You know, when I think of my dad who's now dead, you know, I really, you know, all the people who have died believing this nonsense, right? You know, I actually feel I have to do something about it, yeah? Because you can't just let the next generation die and the next generation die in this ignorance, right? So, you know, I mean, we have to do something serious about this fucking serious situation, yeah? So I think it comes to a point where that's more important than the football, right?
Yeah.
Did we lose him?
Yeah.
I'm still there.
He broke up there.
Dude, with me, it's a little bit different because I don't have kids. You know, my father just died recently. Actually, it'll be a year next month. My father died. Like, I don't really have anything to pass on in this world. But that's kind of my point. When I talk to my niece and my brothers and pretty much anybody that will freaking indulge my craziness, you know, I tell them, how does this not piss you off? How do you, like, you're literally push signing on the paperwork to enslave your children, to deceive your children. How do you, like, how are you comfortable with this? I get worked up about this and all I have is 2 fucking dogs. You know what I'm saying? You got 4 kids. How are you not getting mad about this? How are you not at least getting, you know, interested in the concept?
Yeah.
You know, again, it's just one of those things. Why should I fight for you when you're not even willing to fight for yourself?
Yeah. People get distracted and caught up with distractions, you know, and obviously, like yourself, you get time to ponder and consider things, you know, but people are caught up in their delusions, their trinkets, they're shiny, you know, and they don't think that it's relevant. They're just taking it for granted that the world's this nature-defying fucking testicle and that it's all figured out. Therefore, I just need to focus on me and getting whatever shiny I can for myself, you know?
Oh, of course. Like, it hurts me because, you know, I get ragged on a little bit about, you know, my refusal to I guess, join in on the zombie parade. And it's like, well, you have to eat and you have to have a house, you know, you have to have a roof over your head. So you have to do what you have to do for money and the whole system. I'm like, do you not see that's a problem? Like, how is that acceptable to you? How is that acceptable? So you're willing, if you had no other skills and part of the out in your head and food in your mouth, like, really? Like, you're willing to go that far because it has to be done? It's an imperative that you eat. And of course, it's imperative that you eat and you have shelter, but you're willing to give up everything just for those 2 concepts?
Yeah. They've been sold the mantra that that's just life and that's the way life is, you know?
Yeah, there's also a bit of giving up, as you say, Dale. If people feel that there's nothing they can do about it, it's the way it is, it's random, there's no way off the planet, blah, 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 then people also just give up, yeah? You know, they're browbeaten, you know, it's acquiescence, isn't it? And that's where they bring in the consent then, you know, because nobody does anything about it, then it's easy to just, you know, steamroller it over us, yeah?
Yeah, it's disempowering from the off. You're removing the psychological foundations. You know, you're putting them in a false foundation, you know? And then, you know, people you know, adopt that. Well, it's all figured out. I'm on this wee delicate testicle and there's nowhere to go, therefore, you know, I'm just going to indulge myself, you know. But and again, you know, people would take that attitude, there's nothing that can be done. Look what just normal common people can achieve, you know, how we've affected by just getting up there, you know, not taking it, standing up and speaking the truth. You know, it does work and eventually people do come to it, you know, when it's there. So
I would hope so. I would hope so, because I don't feel I have much time left. A bunch of health issues. Like, I don't really have much time left here. And I'm not sure if I want to be here much longer anyway. With this, the way that shit's going in this country, in America, you know, I know I'm not able to leave the country. I know I'm flagged. I know I'm being monitored and targeted. I swear to God, this brand new refrigerator that I just paid $4,000 for is recording every single one of my conversations. I swear it. I swear it, because I hear my words coming out of other people's mouths at least a couple of times where I've tuned in. I thought of something on a Friday night, and you fucking Del repeated my exact goddamn words on this platform and threw me for a fucking loop. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Well, I'm Illuminati extraordinaire, mate. I managed to get that device put into your fridge freezer from my shed. My shed in Scotland.
Stop reading my mind. I watch way too much porn. Stop reading my mind. I mean, that just goes to show. I mean, you can take it one way or another. You know, that just goes to show. That's just, like I said, that's kind of what drew me to you. It's a like mind. It's someone who's thinking on the same wavelength as me. Yeah. You know, and it's something I've rarely seen. I mean, the last person I had, one friend, and he died about 4 or 5 years back from a heroin overdose. But he actually, I always think back. There was one week, me and him were stuck on a bender for like 3 or 4 days, sitting in my apartment in New York City watching the Science Channel, and they're going about at, you know, Uranus. They're doing all these, you know, they're showing one of those space shows where they're talking about how this planet is made up of this and this planet is made up of that. And James just, like, he looked up at me. He was like, how the fuck do they know all of this shit? And, you know, and I tried to explain it to him with my science mind, because I watch all of these shows and I try to explain it. And then I realized that it all sounds like fucking bullshit. You know, but I kind of brushed it off. But then once I started watching like, every time I watch one of your hangouts or I watch one of you guys' videos, that memory always comes back to me with James just looking up at me. I mean, we were, like I said, 3 or 4 days into a bender, so our minds were all over the universe that day. But just the look that he gave me, he was like, but how do they know all this? Like, it bounces around every time. Every time I log on to one of your hangouts, one of your videos, man, that memory comes back to me. How do they know all of it? And it's exactly, they fucking don't. They're making shit up. Yep. You know, I wish I'd have realized it back then. Maybe I might have saved the kid's life. Maybe I might have changed the course of my life. But, you know, wishing one hand, fucking shit in the other, and all of that.
Well, this is where we are right now, mate, and that's what's important, you know.
Yeah.
Do these people a service, as Gav said, you know, the amount of people who I think about that have went past, that never had any real foundation or knowing about reality or where they were, you know. For me, it's serving them a justice just as much as the people who are here with us right now, you know.
Yeah.
Right, and you've got like-minded people here, definitely, you know. I mean, without getting esoteric, you know, I think the how should I say, the waves, the vibes, whatever you want to call it, right, you know.
Of course.
Lots of people thinking the same thing and waking up to the same, I don't know, reality, and not being taken in anymore. And, you know, I don't know why it happens or how it happens, you know, the 100 monkey and all that. But I get these kind of synchronicities as well, man. So even though I don't have a fridge.
I've always had that kind of mind where, you know, I used to do the bi-yearly acid trip. I would take acid or mescaline or mushrooms on the winter and the summer solstice. That was my thing. That was my thing when I was a kid. And I always used to get into it. I do believe that, you know, at one point humans worked on a hive mind, you know, that we communicated telepathically, and we have telepathic influences on the electromagnetism of this planet. I swear to you, I can tell you stories, and I have people that can back them out, where I have cloudbursts. I've turned a cloudy night with the power of my mind. I didn't do it alone. There was 4 of us tripping on fucking acid and mushrooms that night, and we all concentrated on clearing the skies, and the skies freaking cleared. Like, to me, that's not really a coincidence. You can make whatever of it is you want, but to me, we opened the skies that night so we can have a better trip, because that was what we used to do. Take a lot of acid, take a lot of hallucinogens, and go into the woods and just sit there and talk to the fucking trees for 8 hours for no apparent reason. You know, other people were going to clubs and dancing with freaking lights and all of that dumb shit. Like, nah, man, I'm gonna go in the woods, talk to the trees, listen to the stars, you know, listen to the wind, and I'm gonna go hear the earth while you're going out there and doing all your stupid shit in the club, getting all sweaty, paying $5 a fucking bottle of water and all of that dumb shit. I'm gonna go smoke a joint, eat a whole bunch of mushroom, and fucking talk to the universe. But to me, that opened a lot of, you know, like I said, I believe we're all interconnected, and once one mind wakes up, you know what I'm saying? Whether I would have found you guys or not, I believe I would have got to the same place either way. Like, I was destined, not destined, but you know what I'm saying? We would have ended up here at one point or another.
Yeah, I think if you're being honest with yourself and you're pursuing that, you know, you are going to end up here. You know, that's just a fact. You know, and I can concur with that as well. You know, you think things, you say things, and then you hear it from other people, and you know, it's just confirmation that people are, you know, gathering on the same track. You know.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I do think everybody should have had at least one psychedelic experience. Yeah, I do think.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I don't like. To me, it was one of the most eye-opening and mind-expanding experiences.
So I was just going to say, cloud zapping is also, you know, something that, you know, I can give my own testimony to. That, you know, yes, I've laid on my back and zapped a cloud. You know, done it multiple times. I've predicted it. I've told people I'm going to zap that cloud and it goes away, and they'll confirm it. You know, so these things definitely happen. I don't know how to explain them, but we certainly have an influence on things. The same way that, you know, if somebody's staring at you, you know they're staring at you. You know, if somebody's staring at your back, you'll turn around, you've got that feeling somebody's looking at you. So there's all kinds of things like that that need to be explored. You know, there's a whole science out there we actually know nothing about, to be honest, because we've been sold a lot of shite. Yeah. It's about time we started discovering it. And that's what I think, by the way, just to put it on a positive note, what I find so interesting and so, I don't know, so brilliant about this whole awakening, right, is that it's actually fun. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a depressing experience. I know if you're alone, it maybe seems that way, but I think it's great. I'm just.
Are you kidding me? This is other than the one or two vices that I still, you know, I guess get into. This is the most fun I have. You know what I'm saying? I'm here every Wednesday. I'm here every Saturday because this is the most joy I get out of this life in my current state right now. This is the only real happiness I find, because everything else in this world disgusts me beyond belief. It's like I'm so sick of this world and the people in this world and the way people, you know, the mentality and the celebrities and all of that stuff. Like, it just, not that I'm going to go on a stupid murderous rampage or anything, but I'd rather just not deal with people. I'd rather, you know, work for myself than work for some idiot who's, you know, his whole point in life is to fool people out of their money, to cheat people out of his money. You know? And construction, that's the only way you make money in construction, is by cheating people. You can't be an honest construction worker and make a decent living. Not in this world, not in this country, at least.
Well, all I can say to that is that I know why all three of us love dogs, eh?
Are you kidding me? And my family looks at me weird. I talk to the dogs and they answer me, they respond to me. They were like, you know, you're not really saying it. The dog doesn't. I'm like, yeah, you think the dog doesn't hear me, but the dog hears me.
And he never,
you know what I'm saying? They respond to me.
He never cheats you. He never deceives you. No,
hell no. I mean, that's why they call him man's best friend. They're the only one that's always, know what I'm saying? The only one that's always happy to see you no matter what. I could kick the dog before I leave the house. When I come back, he'll be fucking jumping up in my lap like he hasn't seen me in 10 years. I mean, not that I would, but, you know.
But that is how loyal, and yeah, that's absolutely.
That's it. They're more in touch with things than human beings are.
Yeah,
you know?
They've got the more natural instincts, haven't they? Are still much more alive and awake, and with us, they're just dulled and yeah.
Boring. Yeah.
Boring. Yeah. Moronic. Zombified. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hold on, fellas. I'm gonna go grab me a cigarette. I'll be right back.
Thank you. Well, away he comes back. He'll probably just stay for another 5-10 minutes. Just a short one tonight. We never had much prepared, but it's good to hear for the people, you know.
Yeah,
there's one more request outstanding, so I'll just let you know.
No problem. Cool.
I can open it up for you guys. Like, I'm good. I'm just glad I got it off my chest. I've been wanting to get in on the chat for a couple of weeks now, and kind of just let you guys know who I am, kind of make myself known, know that I'm not, you know, one of these guys. I'm not a sniper. I'm not a shill. I'm not here to undermine the movement or whatever. But I'm just here. I'm just here to learn. I'm here to get a new perspective, because that's all I can ask for in this life is a new perspective.
Yeah, because I appreciate it, man. It's great that you came on. That's good to put a face to the avatar as well. No, but that's what we're looking for, you know, people sharing their experience and what knowledge they have, you know. So that's what the platform's here for, mate. So by all means, use it whenever.
I appreciate it, guys.
I appreciate you coming on too, man. Really good to hear your story, your side of the.
No doubt. Oh man, if I had time, man, I've got stories that you wouldn't fucking believe. I've actually been president accounted for 3 out of the 4 major terrorist attacks in America. I was there for the first World Trade Center bombing. I was there for 9/11. And I was in Atlanta for the Atlanta Olympic bombing.
You're a jinx. You're a jinx.
George, I think I've been starting to convince myself that I was put on this earth to witness atrocities and just talk about them. Like, that's what I'm here for. I'm not there because I should have died. I could have died. I should have died in all 3, in any one of those events. I definitely, you know, and there's one stupid thing. It's like going across the street and you stop to pick up a penny or some dumb shit. You stop to tie your shoe and a fucking car accident happens right in front of you. And you know, if you hadn't stopped your shoe, you'd have been dead smack in the middle of that car accident and you'd have been pancake. You know, it's like kind of like that when it comes to these stupid events. Like, I'm always close enough to death to smell it, taste it, and feel it, but I never really get to enjoy the fruits of, you know what I mean? I'm always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
I'm glad you got here, man.
I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys a lot. Marshall, Merle, Joan, Lenny, everybody out there. I'm glad to finally get in touch with you guys. I'm always here. And I'll always be tuned in.
Much appreciated, bud. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for opening up the platform for me, guys. Keep it up, Del. You're the man. You are a prophet, man. You are a god. You are a leader. At least in my little fucking freaky world. Nah, man, you're a beacon, dude. You're a beacon. That's all you are, is a shining light in a sea of fucking darkness. You know what I'm saying? We're drawn to you, but we're not drawn to follow you. We're just here to fucking to spread your message, to spread your ideals, and kind of make some sense out of this whole fuking game. Man.
It's everybody's message, mate. That's it. It's just people representing the objective truths, and that's all that matters.
We're how should I say? It's a moving target we're trying to hit, and it's all hands on deck.
Well, if you guys ever get the money up together to send a balloon up, I'll be a test dummy, man. I ain't got no kids, not much family left. Don't worry about it. You ain't got to worry about me. You can send me up. I'll be your crash test dummy for any experiment. You just got to get me out of this stupid country. That's all you got to do.
Nice one, buddy.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot again, man.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right.
How do I get out of it?
Just hit the red button, man. Nice one.
So that's a link out to 007.
007.
Yeah, James Bond. Or Kubal Kane. Which one is it?
I'm fucking James Bond.
You're James Bond. Yes, the name's Seamus Bond.
Yeah, well said. West Coast Wisdom. Dale is a spokesperson. He's not a leader. He's a person for whom we have great respect, support, and admiration. But he's just Dale. Exactly. No, I'm fucking God. Worship me.
I think you look like Desperate Dan today. Just when you're getting that blowtorch out and having a shave.
My cow pie. My big arse chin. Seeing in the chat here, so we're just waiting on another guest arriving. So it's 007 apparently. Again, the same thing. If we get sniped, then just ignore it. At this time, if we do get sniped, I'm not sure that I'll fire back up and just leave it for Saturday. But just to remind people, while I've got the opportunity, a meeting on Saturday at 2 p.m. in the last post in Paisley Town Centre. Be great for people to show up. We look forward to having a chat and meeting you. So it was Meryl saying, emphasising, reiterating, establishing as much as you need to gain basic clarity to get your bearings with Bravo. It will show slow has trained down. P.S. The caller said it. Unveil the scope. Cheers, Meryl.
I'm just going to sign off, I think, as well. Anyway, it's an hour later over here, so I'll maybe just listen and say hello in the chat.
Well, I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes anyway, mate, for this. See if this other guest arrives.
Fair enough, my man. It's been great as always. Thanks to everybody. Thanks, Marshall.
Nice one, Gav.
Yeah, I'll speak to you tomorrow or whatever, eh?
All right. Cheers again, bud.
A question here in the chat, Dal, from Heliocentric Cultist. What good can a degree in astrophysics do for someone waking up, for want of a better word?
Sorry, I'm not sure what's that mean. What good can a degree in astrophysics do for someone waking up? Nothing. They just need to realise that they're repeating fucking stories. I don't really get that. It's actual physics that's important. This is where we live. We don't live up there in the fucking sky. Cardiff meet up Saturday 2. Contact Martin Leedke for details. I'm going to be there for sure. Check out link, please. Tinfoil it. Did we mention these other meetings? Did you post anything there? There you go.
They've gone in sporadically throughout the evening, Dal. Preston, Cardiff, London, and Paisley. And I'll continue to do that through the rest of the time we're here.
Since Cardiff is Sunday rather than the Saturday.
Yeah. We've got the Brown Bear in Lehman Street. On the Sunday also. So a fair spread across the country, dude.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I think people will be heading out. I know there's a big event with McGregor and Mayweather on Saturday as well, so I'm sure people will be up for getting out there early and spending the full day. So I'm just going to wait another couple of minutes to see if we have any confirmation of this person arriving, Marshall.
No, but I think some people get a little impatient perhaps and log out if they don't get linked in immediately. And I think everybody who's regular understands that we try and give the floor extensively to whoever the guest is. It seems to work out quite well for people. Just
well, as I say, if the Wednesday night, sometimes it's not an open floor, so it's the mainstay is the Saturday for anybody looking to come in. So we will be back on Saturday, but again, I'll remind people that we're going to go on Eddie's platform on Friday night if you want to tune into that. To say we'll reach more people. So you're going to say
well, is there any confirmation of which platform Eddie's using? Because I'm not so sure which going to be his YouTube channel. So
no, we'll find this out tomorrow. So I'll maybe just stick up a wee, quick couple of minute thing once we get that actual confirmation and let people know where it's happening. But it's definitely Friday at the times we stated. So which is 12 p.m. PST.
9 p.m. UK time.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go to the chat here, people. If anybody's getting to say, want me to shout out, then by all means, a couple of minutes and I'm going to get off. I'm really hungry and My missus, who I know is listening, has promised me some nice food. Hint, hint.
I've got Andy C, man. Your timing's out. You got to wait for Dell to leave the room before you start mocking me about singing.
Don't need any excuses, man. You can chant away anytime you like.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Don't encourage him.
Fire up that noise box you've got and give us a tune, man.
Oh, I can't let the monster loose on the public, dude. That's I've got to be careful with that. Yeah. So if I turn it around, there's a government health warning on the back.
Right, we've not got a show here, so I'm just going to sign off. As I say, I'll put a wee something up just confirming what platform that's going to be on Friday. But again, for everybody else out there, we'll be back on Saturday at the usual time, 7:30. So thanks again, Jonah Worms, Magumba, Marshall, Gav, sorry, I forgot the name, Dire Crow. I think that was it. And for the folks that phoned in, much appreciated. Hope to hear from Maureen Saturday, and I hope to see some of you there at the last post on Saturday at 2 p.m. I look forward to it. Take it easy, guys. Much appreciated.